Hi, this is the second video of our DeepDiff series, and today we are going to discuss how to compare the JSON by ignoring the order of elements present in the list within the JSONs. So to do this, here we have one example. For example, suppose there is an API for which you are expecting that the list within that particular JSON file, the response of that particular API, there is a list within that response which will have the attributes like admin and user, but the order is not always the same. So in that case you will rely on comparing the JSON, the expected and actual, by ignoring the element order present in the list within that particular JSON. So for doing this, we have an option in the DeepDiff. While comparing the expected and actual JSONs, you can pass this ignore order as true. So by doing this, whenever you will want DeepDiff to ignore the order of items in all the list within that JSON, this is perfect for comparing arrays of dictionaries. So in Python, we call it arrays of dictionaries, where the order doesn't matter. Okay, so there can be various cases where you want to use this kind of concept. You want to ignore the order while comparing the two JSONs. Okay, so what it does, it ignores the position of item in the list. Position of that items within the list doesn't matter, but it will compare each item fully. It will compare all the keys and values, and if those are present, the values are matching, though the order can be insignificant. But if the values are present, then it will consider the expected and actual array to be equal. Okay, it passes if all the items are equal, even if shuffled. Okay, so elements within the list can be in the different sequence, but if all the elements are present, the values are present, then it will pass. So I have a quick demo here. So just like our previous video where we have taken a quick demo of DeepDiff, right? I have created a demo here, and here the very first example is we have, this is our expected JSON. Okay, here we have three users with ID and role attribute, and then this is the actual. So items are present within the users, but those are shuffled. The order is different. Okay, so consider we have a case where order doesn't matter. Then how to solve it? We will first try with the deep diff, basic deep diff operation, and let's see how it works out. Let me save the program, and now let me execute it. Okay, so there is difference observed. Difference observed is in the sequence. What it says that root user 0 ID, new value is 2, old value is 1. Okay, so when you are comparing expected and actual, it is saying that at 0th position, new value is 2 for the actual. It is expecting it to be 1, right? Similarly, it is giving us, for example, here for the role as well, it is saying the same thing. Then similarly for the first first element, it is saying the new value is 1. It expected to be, so this particular value, it expected to be 2. Similarly, it will say for admin, it expected to be user, right? Because for this comparison, we didn't say that we need to ignore the order. So now let me comment this out, and we say that we need to ignore the order. Control S. Now our test will pass. Okay, so the ignore order has been ignored. Here we can see the test has passed. Now coming to the second part, second concept of this video is like in case we need to ignore the order but only for the specific keys, then how we will work about it. So in this ignore order equal to true, we are ignoring all the order of all the attributes, all the list present within the JSON. But say you have a requirement that ignore order for X field only but not for Y. DeepDiff lets you do this using a function that checks the path of each item. Okay, and it will let me show you how. Let's have a quick demo about it. So here, for example, we say ignore order equal to true. Right here in this one, it will pass if we execute it. But let's say our requirement is that we only want to ignore the order of set. Okay, so what we are saying here, like ignore order function. So this is the attribute that we are going to use, and we'll say lambda level set in level dot path. So when you use this lambda here, okay, when you are using this lambda, you are telling it ignore the order only for set in this given path. Okay, here this set is present at the root level, list is present at the root level, so we are saying that ignore order only for the set. Okay, so let us execute it. Okay, let me trigger the second test. So it says there is no difference found, but our requirement is that we want to ignore order only for set, not for list. So how we come about it? So for doing so, let us use this. So here we say that ignore order only for set but not for list. So here we will see one exception, one mismatch. And mismatch will be only for list, not for the set values. See, here it is saying that value changed. For root list 0, it was expecting a value 3. It is having a value 3, but it is expecting old value means expected value here 1. Right? Similarly, it is saying that on the this is at the 0th index, on the second index, which means the third element, it is getting 1, but it expect to have 3. Okay, so this is how we ignore the order. We use the ignore order function, and what we say it ignore order for specific keys, but here is the actual thing what we are doing. We are ignoring order only for keys. Whatever the keys we are choosing keeps order sensitive comparison for everything else. For every other attribute present in the JSON, order will matter, but it will not matter only for the attribute or only for the list that we are passing here. In this case, set was that particular list. So it gives you the control over how lists are compared, right? So this one was the way of doing it with lambda. There is one more way. We can use named function, and we can use it is just like the same functionality we are trying to achieve, but instead we'll use a named function now. So here what we are saying, instead of writing the ignore logic inline, here we wrote it inline using lambda here. Okay, what it says, you can define a named function that tells DeepDiff which keys should be treated as unordered. For example, only ignore order for key A, right? So it is just like the same thing. But here it lets you reuse your ignore logic across multiple tests because you have created a named function. Suppose there is a huge code that you need to write here, so that inline thingy will not be readable. So there we need to create a named function, and if that function is being used multiple times, then it will be a reusable way of achieving the same thing. So it makes your code cleaner and easier to maintain, ideal for larger test suite and mixed data structure. So now let us see a demo of it. I've created one more test for this, and here we are doing, here we have A and B field, just like the same. We have 1 2 3 4 here, and we are just shuffling the order here, 2 1 and 3 4. Okay, so now let us straightforward see this, because we have already seen this. Like, this will consider it as true, the test will be passed. But now we want to say that we want to ignore order only for A, right? So for this, what we need to do, so use ignore order func, and then define the function here. It will take label argument here, and here you say return A in level dot path. So whatever is the level dot path, from that it will return A, and only for this A we will ignore the order. For all the other attributes, the order will not be ignored. So this is the same thing that we have achieved here. We did the same thing using lambda. See, here we have, you can consider this as lambda. You pass the level, and then in level path you are ignoring it for a certain attribute. So we are doing the same thing, but here we are creating a function, and here we are just reusing it. So if this is a kind of thing which you need again and again in your program, just create a named function for this and reuse it multiple times. Now let us trigger this. So it will only give us the error related to B, the mismatch related to B. All right, so that's how it works. So just to summarize what we have done in this video, like, this is the summary of the same. So we have seen this option, ignore order equal to true. This will ignore list order globally within the JSONs. When we say ignore order and we provide a lambda like ignore order func, this is the attribute here. We are passing a lambda there. Then it ignore order for the specific keys in line. Then we have ignore order function, but we passed a named function there. Then it ignore order for specific keys by the function. So there are still a lot of things that are pending to be revealed and covered in DeepDiff, which we will see in the further videos of this series. Thank you everyone. Stay tuned.